right, we are back from our brief respite, and we will be going through the rest of this. I am the picker this time, so let us see what comes out. I'm going to just jumble it up this time, make it real crazy. Let's see. I fold another. What do we have here? Okay, interesting pick. Definitely another, some indie stuff right here. We have Plans by Death Cab for Cutie.
That's a doozy. But, you see, the problem with this is that, number one, you can't talk. Number two, there's a lot of overlap sometimes between you two.
That's fair.
Yeah.
We've shared a lot of music with each other, so.
Granted, we basically shared Depeche Mode and Purple Rain between all three of us.
Yeah.
But Death Cab for Cutie. I am going to say I'm just going to take a mathematical approach for this because, as we pointed out in the middle of our little respite,
big brain stuff's going on right here.
As we had pointed out then, Daulton had a considerable amount of picks.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron just had the one.
You have a considerable amount of picks. We're split even now at this point.
Yeah, you two are split even. I've only had one.
I think that this will be the beginning of the Aaron show. I will say that this is Aaron's pick.
Interesting. If we were to do some funny giggles and hee-haws, it would be great if we inserted some like intense thinking and planning it out music over that part.
Jeopardy theme.
Get like the score to like Kaiji or JoJo in there.
Or like LA Noire.
Yeah.
Or put some Columbo music.
Yeah.
One more thing. Anyway,
it
Aaron,
stands to reason that
Aaron?
I'm going to say Daulton.
Oh, interesting.
Doing some big brain stuff here.
Big brain play?
Big brain play.
Big brain countdown.
Ooh.
Okay, it's me.
Yeah, I mean just
I'm
by
the only one who really listens to Death Cab, except for... Actually, no, I was showing you some Death Cab.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Death Cab too. Yeah.
Aaron, you'll have your turn here, obviously. But I need to summarize what happened behind the audio. I'm counting down, and I just sigh. I look
Just
over
making eye contact.
I just...
Prolonged eye contact.
And she had the big dumb grin on her face. It was curling up. She had the Richie grin. Anyway, Aaron.
You say smile curling up, and I'm just picturing the
the Grinch.
Yeah, I'm just picturing the Karloff Grinch. You know,
a wonderful, awful
idea.
Aaron, the floor is yours.
Yeah.
Okay. So I chose this album because it is one of my favorite. Well, it's obviously one of my favorite albums. That's why I put it on the list. But it was my introduction to indie music. This album came out in 2005. I was 10 years old when the album came out, but I didn't actually listen to it until I was maybe 12 or 13. And one of my friends who's always been super, super into indie music got me into Death Cab. And my first memory is listening to Marching Bands of Manhattan as her alarm when we were on vacation once. And just hearing the chorus of Marching Bands of Manhattan, which is the opening track. And the best way I can say to describe Death Cab to people who aren't familiar is, I jokingly say emo music for hipsters. Because the music is a lot of it about love and death, and it's like a lot of it is very depressing music, but it's just beautifully written. And there's also I love Death Cab because there's a beauty in the simplicity of the way that the music is written, especially lyrically. Because they don't try to go for any. Because Ben Gibbard, when he's songwriting, he doesn't try to go for any like big theatrical prose or whatever. He's like, this is what's going on. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm writing. And Plans shows that. For Plans, it's my favorite Death Cab album. It's a close tie with Transatlanticism, because Transatlanticism is an absolute masterpiece of an album.
Yeah, that's my personal favorite Death Cab album, actually.
But Plans got me through a lot in my life. It got me through a lot of stuff when, like, being bullied in middle school and all that stuff. And with Plans, it was basically, it's like this, it was the soundtrack to, like, the 6th grade for me, to be honest.
That sounds like what B was for me.
Yeah. But Death Cab has been one of those bands where I realized a few years ago that it's like, yeah, my taste in music has changed a lot since I was that age, but Death Cab has always been the constant. But anyway.
Yeah, I feel like we all have like constants like that, and
Yeah.
No, I agree. It's a great record. There's some good cuts in there. It's probably the Death Cab album that people have just by relation the most familiarity with,
Because it was their major label debut.
Not only that, but their biggest hit came off of the record "I Will Follow You Into the Dark," which has been
Great song.
which has been in everything, which is why people probably mostly know it. But I agree with you that there's a beauty in like the simple. Sometimes one of my all-time favorite groups is the Mountain Goats, and like John Darnielle has a very simple. He uses very simple chords, very simple playing structure, and his lyrics are very. But his lyrics have like this visceralness due to their simplicity, and I can always appreciate someone that's able to like elevate something that is able to like plow through you and make a connection without doing anything too flashy, because that shows me that they're talented.
Yeah, and
It's tough to thread that needle.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and there's so many great songs off Plans. Like the opening track is "Marching Bands in Manhattan," which is one of those songs that people were like, why is this album opening with an organ? But it actually works really well for the album.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, of course, "I Will Follow You Into the Dark." Other songs like "Brothers in a Hotel Bed" or "Staple Song," or a lot of people don't like "Someday You Will Be Loved." I actually like that song. Another one of my favorites, which is a song I just can't listen to because it hits too hard, is "What Sarah Said."
Oh.
If you're familiar with that song, you know.
Oh yeah, that's a rough one.
I've heard that one through him, and I'm like, right here.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And of course, not everyone, but a lot of people know the song "Soul Meets Body" because that was like their poppy song on the album. And it still gets radio play on alternative stations every so often. But yeah, Plans is definitely my favorite Death Cab album, and one of my favorite albums.
Good pick.
Yep.
Excellent pick, I would say.
Mhm.
All right, so it's Rich now, I believe.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Process of elimination again will probably come into play here.
It's the Erin Show.
Yeah.
It's the Erin Show.
Because it's a lot less likely to be one of the two of us at this point.
Grace by Jeff Buckley. God damn it.
I'll take that and put it over here.
I'm betwixt and wondering who this could possibly be.
Oh my god, you are the Chamberlain. Just turning into the Chamberlain from Dark Crystal.
Oh man, I'm just gonna go for the easy target here. Process of elimination for one. For two, it just seems very up this person's alley. I'm gonna take a guess and say Erin. That's gonna be my personal guess.
I can't say anything,
Yeah, you
so
can't
she's
say
gotta
Jack.
she's gotta be the one to step up.
I guess I'm just gonna play mind games at this point.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can do.
Keikaku, well, according to Keikaku, yes.
I know Daulton likes this album, and Richie, have you listened to this album before?
Once or twice.
Once or twice? Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna lean towards Daulton again.
Alright, that's fair. That's fair. I do enjoy this record. I've listened to it a good amount.
Okay, let's start the countdown.
It's me again.
Oh!
Jeff Buckley.
What can you say?
What can you say? He was one of the...
Can you say?
In my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, he was one of the greatest guitarists of the 90s.
Easily, yeah.
Easily.
Oh,
He died way too young. He was, what, like 26, I think?
27.
He was 27?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Grace, it was his only full studio album. He did some live albums out of shows he did, and like some demos and that kind of thing live at Cine.
Mostly finished his second album, which has been released posthumously, which is My Sweetheart, The Drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was mostly finished.
It was mostly finished.
It was one of those things where it was like pretty much finished, similar to, I believe Tupac had a posthumous record similar to that was mostly finished. What do you remember what that one was called, Rich? Tupac's record that they released posthumously. Do you remember which one that one was?
It's kind of eluding me.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he had a mostly finished album as well. It's happened a few times with a few musicians.
I'm gonna be honest, that doesn't really narrow it down at all, because Tupac has so many posthumous stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe
I
he's a
feel
ghost.
like this is one of the few times you can compare Jeff Buckley and Tupac.
Well, hey, they both died young and were highly influential musicians in the 90s.
Yeah, true.
And very talented.
Both came from troubled backgrounds.
Yeah.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. But why don't you give us a rundown on this one while you're so fond of it?
So, I love this album for many reasons. One of the reasons being the Jeff Buckley's vocals and his guitar work on the album.
Oh, yeah.
Because Jeff Buckley was a beautiful singer. He really was.
Amazing tenor.
Yeah, amazing tenor. Because he could do anything from, like, there's some points in the album where I believe he does, like, kind of like a lower, almost growling.
Yeah.
To a very high falsetto.
Versatility.
To belting. And it's so beautiful. Most people know the songs, either the single Grace, which was the lead single off the album, or his cover of Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen, which gets, I mean, it's one of the most popular covers of Hallelujah.
I would argue one of the most popular cover songs of all time, to be honest.
Yeah, because when I hear people talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, I know that song Hallelujah, they either go with Rufus Wainwright, which people know because it was used in Shrek, or Jeff Buckley's version. And I love Grace so much, because as I mentioned, the guitar work and the vocals, but also his original tracks on it. A lot of the songs in the album are covers.
Yeah.
But the opening track, for example, Mojo Pin, was an original song. And it's just beautifully written, beautifully composed, and I love the way that he projects his voice in the song, and also how light at certain points where he can make his voice sound. Like, for example, during the first verses.
There's I just double checked this. There's of 10 track of like a third of the album is basically covers, because it's 10 tracks and 3 of the tracks are actually covers.
Yeah.
Because along with Grace, there's also Corpus Christi Carol and Lilac Wine is actually.
I love
a cover
Lilac
too.
Wine.
Oh,
yeah,
great song.
Yeah. Very good. There's some great ones on this. Lover, You Should Have Come Over is another great one.
Life is so unkind to the talented. Seriously.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to mention is how influential this album is. For example, both Matt Bellamy and Tom York have cited Jeff Buckley as a vocal influence.
That tracks.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, David Bowie himself picked this as one of his like desert album picks. Like, if you're like stuck on a desert island, you have to bring an album. Like he chose Grace, which goes to show you just how phenomenal of an album it is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And a lot of it's softer, but there's also there's some heavier stuff like Eternal Life. It's a great record.
Yeah, and even the songs that are the lighter songs, for example, like Lilac Wine, for example, that's a song you can just vibe to.
Mm-hmm.
You can just vibe to the song, to Lilac Wine.
Good writing song.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's actually 2 different versions of Hallelujah. there's the album version, which is the studio version.
Yeah.
And then there's also the version that's available on YouTube, which is a music video version.
Yeah.
Which adds like another minute to the song because there's a longer guitar intro.
Oh, yeah.
I prefer the music video version, but that's just me. Because I like the guitar work in the intro better than the studio version.
That's
but
fair
I don't know,
enough.
I'm probably gonna get some hate for that.
It's okay, I'll stand with you on
Yeah,
that. That is a good version.
Yeah.
Yeah, the intro's great on that.
Oh yeah. And it's really heartbreaking just because he did die so young, and when he had so much potential and so much going for him, because it was an accident.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
drowned. Yeah.
Yeah.
He drowned while swimming, and like a boat came by and he drowned.
Yeah, I got
A wake got him.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
swept by a wild wave.
Yeah.
Another tragic member to the 27 Club.
Yeah.
I actually looked up that he was 30.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was. Yeah.
I thought he was like 26.
Yeah, because, but there is, like, for those unaware, there's an eerie coincidence in a lot of, like, musicians who have died young that for some bizarre reason, a lot of them died at 27.
Kurt Cobain,
James Joplin.
Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah,
Jimi
Hendrix. Did John Entwistle die at 27? I think he was older,
I
actually.
I think he was older.
Think?
Yeah, I think Entwistle was older, but like, there's a shocking amount. Wasn't Aaliyah 27?
No, she was younger.
No, she was way younger.
Oh, wow.
She was like 23.
Oh, jeez, yeah, but
Plane crash.
yeah, there. Maybe some of the members of Skinner were some of them 27.
No, I don't think so. I think they were older, but
Well, this is
Another-
taking a morbid path.
Yeah. Like, there is one. Wait. Was Buddy Holly? I feel like Buddy Holly was 27.
No, he was younger.
Really?
He was like... Or maybe I'm thinking Richie Valens, because I think Richie Valens was dead at 19.
Let me double check what age he died. Because Buddy Holly, I'm pretty sure. Because for those
this is
unaware,
Wikipedia of the 27th.
yeah, there was. For those unaware, there was.
Jim Morrison,
Yeah, Jim
Amy
Mor-
Winehouse.
Oh yeah, Jim Morrison.
Buddy Holly was 22.
Wow. Yeah, 22. Yeah.
I was right. I was thinking of Richie Valens.
Yeah, but Dimebag Darrell might have been 27. He might have been. But yeah, it's this weird thing. A lot of successful musicians died at 27. It's bizarre.
On that happy note,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Erin, I believe it is your turn to roll. Let's see.
Roll the dice, Bone Daddy.
In Rainbows by Radiohead.
Oh, this is a tough one, actually.
Oh yeah,
Because
this is such a tough one.
Yeah.
could be Aaron, because Aaron loves Radiohead. I know that much. But
It's not you?
I mean, it could be me. I love In Rainbows. In Rainbows is a great record. But it could also be you. Because you love Radiohead as well.
We have
See,
three
that's
music
another
works.
Yeah, I am going to use my deductive reasoning and my knowledge of the two of you. And I am going to guess that this is a Richie pick.
And I, in turn, will use the fact that there's just one more Daulton pick. One or two.
Two.
And I'm going to say that that's you, because you have said for the record that In Rainbows is just behind Kid A for your favorite Radiohead album.
Yeah, it's like neck and neck with like Kid A for me. So that's
It's like-
I'd say that's a pretty good guess. But
It's like a Mexican standoff here.
yeah, I mean, I know Erin loves Radiohead, but I'm not gonna guess her just because I know there is like, there's one I know she loves a little more, unless she put this in to throw us off. But let's get the countdown again, I suppose.
You're pretty good.
Hey, what can
Yeah.
I
It was
say?
me.
Because I know these two well enough. Because like I knew I didn't put it in there. it is my favorite Radiohead record.
I was trying to psych
But-
you out.
Yeah, but I when I heard Radiohead, I was like, oh, Erin, and I was like, wait, no, because she's told me before Kid A is her favorite when it comes to Radiohead. But
I've said that and Hail to the Thief are my favorites.
yeah. So why don't you tell us a little about why this edges out Hail to the Thief for you?
Well, just say for its sheer unadulterated very and style. Radiohead has always been super versatile in terms of tone and mood and instrumentation, but this album, I think, has sort of the best of both worlds scenario for all angles. Like, they have some of the synth heavier stuff, like 13 Steps.
15 Steps.
Well, 15 Steps. Damn it. 15 Steps. It sounds like it could have come out of Kid A, but there's also more of
more drum work.
More of a drum work to it, more light.
They actually had to get a second percussionist for that song because Philip Selleck couldn't do it all on his own. And I met Philip Selleck. He's the nicest person you'll ever meet.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, 15 Steps kind of threaded the needle between that Kid A style percussion and the amazing acoustic guitar work in this. And, of course, I cannot talk about this album without talking about Jigsaw falling into place.
God, I
Easily right up there with There as my favorite Radiohead song. The instrumentation, I don't want to say the chorus, the bridge in between verses, where it just ramps up the guitar work and the drums.
I've always loved how Tom York is able to like bridge this like gap in this song by like sounding like incredibly relaxed and dreamy with his vocals, but like
and then
very
the
intense
pitch,
at the same time.
And then the pitch change happens. The beat goes round and round.
Yeah, and then he gets more intense. It's a masterwork of album. Like this song is one of my favorite like drum tracks too. Like the drums are so perfect on this record.
Anytime. Sorry.
Also, Weird Fishes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Weird Fishes. That's perfect No Man's Sky music, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I remember specifically popping in headphones, putting the disc in my PS4 and playing that, and just drifting along in space as Weird Fishes comes along. That's probably my favorite one from a drum standpoint, because that steady... Yeah.
And also the arpeggio on the guitar.
Oh yeah, yeah. One of the saddest album closers too.
Videotape.
Oh,
yeah. I cried when I saw that live.
It hits you. It hits you.
Yeah. I didn't want to talk about that because right now it's just like...
Yeah. And, you know, just props to them for the fact that this was one of the first, like, major albums that a band just, like, dumped online. When this first came out, it was actually free online.
Yeah, it was a free digital download.
Yeah, and, like...
In 2007.
Yeah, and the band was just like, oh, yeah, if you want to throw us some money, you can. And,
it was a pay-as-you-want.
Yeah, it was really cool, though.
Everyone's got their favorite Radiohead album. Honestly, I like this one just because it has my favorite sound out of all the Radiohead ones.
Yeah.
You've got the more abrasive, hard rock, psychedelic rock stuff from Hail to the Thief.
Yeah.
You've got your electronic, trip-hop stuff from Kid A.
Yeah.
And then
90s
you've
guitar rock from the Bends.
And then you've got In Rainbows, which hits my personal sweet spot, which is dream poppy stuff from, like, the Sundays, and, again, Tame Impala.
Yeah.
And it's Radiohead, so of course they're good at it.
I think my personal, my reason for loving this one the most is, like, I feel like it's got the best sweet spot for Radiohead stuff, because, like, Hail to the Thief, like you mentioned, great record. I feel like at some points it overstays its welcome a little. It's like a very, very long-winded album, you know?
Especially given the subject matter.
Yeah.
Which, it succeeds at being heavy, but also...
There was bands, and, like, there's bands who put out political records at the time that I feel like have the same punch, but didn't, like, go on as long, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This, though, perfect length, perfect orchestration, probably my favorite vocal work from Tom York, because
he's all over the place in this.
He's all over the place. He does the whole low sort of monotone growl from Creep,
Mhm.
and then he comes back into his tenor and falsetto stuff.
Yeah,
and
gorgeous
it's
falsetto stuff like on Jigsaw Falling into Place, and
Weird Fishes.
Yep, amazing intro track too. Phenomenal intro with what's the intro track on this one called?
15 Step.
Oh,
Yeah, it is.
15
It is
Step.
15
Yeah,
Step.
yeah, 15 Step is such a great intro.
Like,
Yeah. Because I remember when they played it live, they had to get like a whole drum corps for it.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Yeah, they played it when they did that live. They did it at the Grammys, and they were like, "Hey, let's get a whole drum corps for the sound of 15 Step," and that was it.
Interesting.
I was so mad that Erin was the one who pulled that one though, because I was waiting for Daulton to pull that,
Oh,
so that Erin
would-
could be like, which one?
Oh, that would have been a good one. That would have
Damn
been a good
it.
pick. All right,
But
so
I love In Rainbows, and once again, love you, Dad. You're the best.
All right, so it goes off to Rich to be picked, or May again.
Didn't I just pick the?
You did.
Yeah.
did,
So let's bring it
all
over
right,
to Daulton.
back to me again. Let's see. We're winding down here. We only have
I was
a few left.
another proud contributor to the Erin show over here.
Okay. Oh, tough one again here. We've got Rumors by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh.
Because I'm pretty sure all of us are pretty big Fleetwood Mac fans here. So
It's another Prince situation.
yeah,
Yeah.
This is a tough one. I obviously cannot guess. I will throw it down here in our discarded pile, but I want you to put your thinking caps on.
I'm gonna go with Richie, just
Okay.
because I know how much of a classic rock dork you are.
He
I
is.
am.
He is.
As an aside, I kind of went out of my way to throw all of you through a loop when I picked these 5 albums specifically, because, like, I'm not always stuck in the past, and
Yeah.
I wanted this to be a demonstration of that.
Mhm.
That said, I do think that you might be onto something, but I think I'm also onto something when I say that you picked this, because you are the biggest dork when it comes to Stevie Nicks.
That's
And,
fair. That's fair.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you were somehow a distant relative or something. I don't know.
I don't have any family in California.
Okay.
Well,
Actually, I have one cousin in San Francisco. Anyway.
spiritually. Spiritually.
All right,
Anyway.
countdown time.
Vindication?
That's me again.
Yay!
It's me again.
If I had to guess, that's what I was going to guess too. But that could have been a tough one because, like I said, Rich could have thrown it in there. I could have thrown it in there. You know?
That probably would have been my favorite Fleetwood Mac album had it not been for Tusk.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I do love the experimentation on Tusk. You know, I'm a sucker for when bands get really experimental and
Roll off the reservation.
Yeah, and we're gonna do something fucking wild. But like in a way, Rumors is that too, because
Yeah. Well, for me, I chose Rumors because my mom actually introduced me to this album. She's a huge Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks fan too. She actually has Belladonna on vinyl, which is Stevie Nicks' first solo record. But anyway, I chose this record because it is one of my favorite albums. And if you're unfamiliar with Rumors, which I don't know how you would be unfamiliar with Rumors, the background to this album is everyone was basically either breaking up with each other, getting a divorce, and doing drugs, and everyone just kind of hated each other during the production of this
Or
album.
all of those things.
Or all of the above. Or sleeping with each other, or Christy McVie sleeping with the lighting guy, hence you make loving fun.
I wanted to be a member of Fleetwood Mac. I want a time machine.
A time machine to do cocaine with Stevie Nicks.
Lucky bastards, all of them. Anyway.
But anyway, during the time of the writing and production of this album, Christy and John McVie were getting divorced. Lindsey Buckley and Stevie Nicks broke up, and they really hated each other. I mean, I don't know if they still do. That's debatable.
Maybe they're really good actors. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I
Well,
mean-
the band. Well, Lindsey Buckingham's no longer in the band, so
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
that's a whole thing.
And there is all sorts of crazy stuff too. I remember I think they either rebuilt or refurbished or made a whole new studio just for Fleetwood Mac for this album, and it cost like a lot of money.
I think it did, but then I think it may have also been Tusk. I can't exactly remember.
Well, they did make them a whole new studio for Tusk, but I think
Because of the big the marching band they had for Tusk.
well, that was actually only for that was for the live versions. On the album version, there's not actually a marching band on the album version for Tusk.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, they kept trying to find a way to get this big drum sound, and this is a funny fact. They like, and this always blows me away. Tusk, he wanted Lindsey Buckingham wanted to sound more like just like raw with it, and like he was actually listening to punk music at the time, and he liked what like punk music
that
was
makes sense.
doing, but he was putting so much money into it, which kind of does like defeats the purpose
like
of
the,
what.
the
Yeah.
most
The
anti-punk thing you could do.
You're paying money to sound raw, which no.
No.
And the way they ended up getting the drums to sound like that and so big is they kept trying everything, and everything was failing, and it ended up being the most simple thing that made it work. They recorded it in a bathroom. That's how they got those big echoes, is the drums are recorded in a bathroom.
I'm just imagining Mick Fleetwood, who's like 6'5",
Yeah.
just recording a drum kit in the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's the most hilarious thing.
Yeah. I'm just
Damn
like
it, why is it so crowded in here?
I'm imagining it. I'm imagining him sticking right outside of like a bathroom stall, and he's sitting at the like door of the stall, just trying
Just
to
like Kim Shafino in the video for
see,
Daylight.
Nothing to see here, just carry on. Anyway,
Anyway, back to rumors.
Yes. Great
We're gonna
record.
diatribe about Tusk. Back to rumors. Rumors is considered one of the best albums of all time, and I completely understand that. I completely agree with that.
One of the best-selling albums of all time.
And one of the best-selling albums of all time as well. The opening track, Secondhand News, is one of those songs. It was like, oh yeah, this is like a fun song to like get you into it, but it's also like, oh, this relationship is falling
and you
apart.
listen to the lyrics, like that's
I'm just
such,
Secondhand News.
That's such a recurring thing on the album too. That's fun. That makes it so great. Is if you're a big fan of lyrical dissonance, this album is fantastic because
it's
like
gold.
there's like
yeah.
it feels like 70% or 80% of this album is lyrical dissonance. Like there's a lot of very genuine songs that aren't lyrical dissonance. You know, you've got like Songbird and like The Chain and of course
Goldust Woman.
yeah, and how can we not forget like
Go Your Own Way. Well, Go Your Own Way is
yeah,
kind of
that's
like,
lyrical dissonance.
that's lyrical dissonance.
Wait,
Melody-wise, anyway.
Melody-wise, yeah.
Is Landslide on this?
No, it's a Fleetwood Mac.
That's right.
That's not the album before that. Because both Landslide and Rhiannon are off the album before that.
Yeah.
And Sarah is off of Tusk.
I'm trying to remember what the big Stevie Nicks one in this.
Dreams?
Dreams, yeah. Dreams is very genuine too.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah. Players only love you when they're playing, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the more genuine, straightforward songs in this. There's a
Yeah.
lot of
Let her
lyrical
go
dissonance.
again. You say you want your freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That cuts deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much rawness on this album, and I think the reason it feels so genuine is they didn't record most of this album together either.
Yeah, they recorded a lot of it separately, because a lot of them didn't want to be in the same room as each other.
Yeah, I think the only track that everyone recorded together was the chain,
Chain.
because you can't record the chain like separately.
Separately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not with those harmonies.
No.
No.
Lindsey Buckingham seems like a scary person. I just want to throw that
Well,
out
he's
there.
very big too.
I, as someone who loves Go Your Own Way, that one lyric, he just seems kind of like a bit of a belligerent asshole.
Oh, packing up, shacking up's all you want to do?
Yeah, Stevie Nicks apparently wanted to kill him for that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Everyone wanted to kill each
kill
other.
Well, yeah, everyone wanted to kill each other.
well, yeah, but then I had seen an interview with her. She's like, I told him to take that lyric out, and he didn't. She's like, it's like, yeah, you left me, and now I'm gonna make you feel my pain, you bitch.
I feel like the only fun person to be while you're recording this was like Fleetwood Mac's cocaine supplier.
watch
Just
the
a coke
fireworks.
Yeah,
Just a coke
their
dealer.
coke dealer probably was having a great time. He was like, man, I'm making so much money off of this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy myself a Scottish castle.
He probably
Maybe
had
he did.
maybe he did. I would not be surprised if their cocaine dealer was able to live comfortably off the money
gonna
just
film-
from rumors.
I'm gonna film my own Highlander fanfiction here.
Oh yeah,
Um,
super good album.
Also, another in the production of the chain, one of the things that I noticed after giving it a re-listen, I mean, I listened to the album a million times, but one of the things I noticed in the re-listen is that the vocals for Christina McVie and Stevie Nicks in the chain, I can still hear you saying we would never break the chain.
Yeah,
There sounds like some desperation in that voice. In
That
the vocal.
tremble.
Yeah.
Also, of course, I'm me, so I'm gonna point out that that's just great Western movie music fodder. Great Western trailer.
Yeah, it's a great track. It really, I think it's like the track that really takes the core of the album and like throws it in your face and basically goes, "This is what this album's
This
about."
is the thesis statement.
Yeah.
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 Also, that's a song that they use to open their shows a lot. They use the chain.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Because I've seen a lot of videos of like post Rumors live shows, and they use the chain as basically a headlining song for live shows.
Yeah. As a great comedy show once pointed out, sometimes you get strife in a band, and it can lead to a rumors for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a formula.
Yeah.
Success is in equal proportion to how much you want to stab your fellow bandmates in their sleep.
Yeah, I mean, look at the last few Beatles records. They're great, but at that point, basically everyone hated each other with the exception of like Ringo.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, yeah, Ringo's cool.
He's a cool one.
Yeah,
I want to have a beer with him.
I would have a beer with Ringo.
I'd have a beer with
You
Ringo.
hate beer, so that's something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
For him, I don't.
Moving right along.
Talk about his crappy artwork. It's really bad.
You're a jackass.
I love Ringo, but his art is so bad.
You're not wrong, but you're still a jackass. Anyway. Alright. We have an interesting one here. Huero by Beck.
Oh, okay, Beck.
Back.
Huh.
I'm gonna go with Richie on this one.
You know what? I think I'm gonna hop on that train with you, just because like I appreciate some Beck. I've listened to some Beck, but I don't know.
I know 2 Beck songs.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I gotta go at Rich for this, just because I haven't heard Aaron talk about Beck that much. So
One of them's Loser, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Loser and Up All Night.
hey,
I'm
everyone
gonna-
knows Loser. Come on, dude.
I'm gonna talk to you guys like this from now on.
Oh, don't do that. I'll be bad for the sound.
Alright.
Talk facing the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take 5 seconds for
yeah.
formality.
Who could it be?
Go fornicate yourselves, it's me. Anyway, Beck. I've got a history with Beck. This time, thanks to basically everyone in my family. My mom likes his stuff, my dad likes him, but especially my cousin Colin, who actually does his own lo-fi stuff of his own, by the way.
Oh.
He's probably gonna kill me for not picking Odelay for my favorite Beck album, even though that is probably his most eclectic and the one where he's got the most stuff going on.
Yeah, I've listened to some Odelay. It's a pretty cool album. A buddy of mine in college was a big Beck fan and showed me some of his stuff. Beck was like his favorite musician.
But I think Huero is another case like with In Rainbows, where I just think it's my personal favorite of his sounds.
That's fun.
Because you do have I mean, you've got a different Beck for every album, basically. Morning Phases, but and you got Odelay, where it's like throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. Because he does like psychedelic pop stuff, some
it takes a talented
comedy, folk stuff, some hip hop.
It takes talented musicians to like do that kind of like stuff. Like I can only think of a few bands that have done like this throw everything at the wall, see it stick stuff, and like made it succeed. Like obviously, most common obvious choice would be like the White Album for the Beatles. You know,
The Beatles, Soul Coughing too.
Yeah.
If you've ever heard of them, they're really good.
Because like to go back to my love of MCR, you've got Danger Days, which is all over the place. You've got like classic rock songs. There's like a psychedelic rock song on there, which I think you said is your favorite track off of Danger Days, Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Then you had
another one that I was gonna mention that they don't always do it in the same album, but an example when I first listened to the 1975's debut album.
Yeah.
A lot of the songs are just like, let's see what sticks.
Yeah.
And then you have Demon Days by Gorillaz, which, by the way, was...
runs the gamut, too. Yeah.
That was a painful cut. By the way, hey, Dad, bet you didn't expect me to cut that out, did you?
Yeah. Trust me, there's some stuff that I could not believe I didn't throw.
He thought for sure that was going to be my pick, but he was wrong. Anyway, Huero. I like that this leans into the heavier trip hop and big beat side of Beck, while also kind of throwing a few curveballs at you. You've got Que Onda Huero, which is a half Spanish, half English hip hop thing about living in his predominantly Spanish neighborhood in California, because the title literally means "What's up, Blondie?" or "What's up, white boy?" Yeah, Huero is Blondie.
Yeah.
But then, just when you're getting into that and E-Pro, which is on the heavier end, you've got that big crunching guitar and stuff. Boom, Girl hits you. It's a synth poppy, what sounds like a love ballad at first, but then, of course, since it's Beck, he's got to throw in that edge of it actually being about a stalker who wants to take out her eyes and string her up.
Lovely.
And then you've got Hell Yes, which I couldn't tell you what the lyrics were about in that because it's another one of those lyrical collages Beck likes to do, like within New Pollution, but the beat is so good, that bass line, the percussion work where it kind of loops back like a Fatboy Slim song.
Oh, okay.
And then you got Christina Ricci on the track doing a weird sort of pseudo-Japanese spoken word guest chorus thing. But I do love it for how off the reservation it is, even for Beck. Like,
yeah.
Even Odelay had a certain polish to it, especially when you had that horn section from the New Pollution. But Huero is almost sort of kind of like a punk hip-hop sort of deal.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of rap rock. And I think that's my Beck. That's my personal favorite flavor on Beck. And also, once again, good chill-out music. If you're in a really screwed-up mood, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to give it a listen. That one sounds very fascinating.
And with that, that is all of mine.
Oh, yeah, we knocked all yours out?
We're down to the lovebirds now, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so this is going to be basically, like, what, 50-50 at this point?
Yeah.
How many do we have left? 3?
3.
Okay, yeah, so it's skewed, actually.
Yeah, 2 for me, 1 for you.
No, I think it's actually 2 for me now and 1 for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
it's been the Erin show.
Yeah, it's been Erin for a while
it has
now.
been.
So, alright, you got a pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Is a Real Boy by Say Anything.
Oh my god.
Okay,
This is a toss-up. I hate you both. I hate you both.
Like, this is a band I love, but I also introduced Erin to them, so I know she loves them a lot. So I'm gonna, I guess that's what I'll go with. I'll guess Erin for this one.
I smell a trap. You were the one who got me into Say Anything, so I'm just gonna take a gamble and assume it's. I'm going to assume it's you. One, because you are the Say Anything guy. Two, because we've knocked out so many of Erin's picks that it could loop right back around to you.
Yeah, and statistically at this point, most likely, after this pick, it will be either way, like, easier to guess. But yeah, that's a fair guess. But let's do the countdown anyway. Yeah, this is me.
Caught you!
This is like, if you were to like put a gun to my head and tell me to pick my favorite album, this would actually probably be it. I have connected to this album so hard. I first stumbled across it in high school. My one of my aunts has an eclectic music collection, and I was just going through her stuff, ripping stuff to my iPod, and she said, "Hey, try out Say Anything. They seem like they'd be up your alley." And I was like, "Okay." And I actually never heard the first disc of this album for a while because all she had was the second disc. So my introduction to Say Anything was the incredibly sardonic and unusual track, Wow, I Can Get Sexual Too. But
Great title.
I fell in love with the band as soon as I heard that track because I never heard a band that captured my mood so much because, it's very maudlin, it's self-mocking, it's deprecative, it's like got this very sardonic wittiness to it where it's like, someone who's clearly going through some shit and has issues with themselves, but they're trying to mask it with humor. And that's like a recurring motif.
Case in point, Beck.
Yeah, there's a lot of self-indignation and rage on this record. It's very unique. Max Bemis is he's a great musician, great guy. And this isn't their debut track. This isn't their debut album. That was actually Baseball. But
Which is incredibly hard to find.
Yeah, but this was like the one that got them into like the underground scene and like really got them big into like the the emo and punk circuits, and like they had a lot of clout critically after this album. This album was critically loved and praised, and it made their follow up to this, In Defense of the Genre, get a lot of big star power names on it. Just to show you like the range of
Isn't Haley Williams?
Yeah, Haley Williams does guest vocals for Church Channel. She also Gerard Way is on the title track because he also enjoyed the album. Like there was like a lot of other contemporary stuff. I think like August Burns Red might have had a track on, like one of the members of August Burns Red I think might have had a thing on there. Or someone from Saves the Day. Like a lot of the pop punk and emo groups from the time were on their follow-up record, and it's one of the best indie records ever. It introduced me to my love of emo music and got me through a lot of shit in high school. There's too many good tracks on it to even star. Belt is one of my favorite introductions to any record.
Oh yeah.
The fact that it gets you in the mindset of Max Bemis and the band so perfectly with the spoken word introduction, because they literally record it with a spoken word introduction saying they're doing it. It's the last thing they have to record on the album, but for some reason that's the thing Max is having anxiety about, and they're just recording it in the car for some reason.
You hear a turn signal.
Yeah, you can hear the turn signal of a car, and it just goes to show you the humor of the band and how self-deprecative Max is. And he's so open about his mental health, which I really appreciate. This album is unique too because a lot of musicians record on a really down, depressive moment in their life.
Yeah.
He was in an extended manic episode, and
geez.
This album is the result of recording under mania.
Considering the tempo of some of it, that tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talk about all over the place with subject matter and tone too. You've got some slower stuff, you've got some slower stuff like Yellow Cat, Red Cat.
I Want to Know Your Plans.
I Want to Know Your Plans. And then you've got, like, these triumphant, like, soaring, F you, I'm gonna live my life songs, like Alive with the Glory of Love, and, Admit It. Like, there's so many great tracks that, like, runs the gamut of moods that people with, I feel like a lot of people with mental health issues go through. And as someone who's struggled with that, this album resonates with me. I think this album, along with Danger Days, is probably like the two albums I've listened to like the most in my life, and this has got me through so much shit. I just adore this album, and it kicked off my love of emo, and which is probably my favorite genre of music. And I tried to restrict myself because like if I had like really gone crazy with it, like most of my list would have been emo. You would have seen like American
like
football and like Sunny Day Real Estate.
Like
Ghetto Kids.
Yeah, so
Say
much
Anything
emo.
would have been like 3 of them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I tried to restrict myself from doing multiple bands too.
Yeah.
So.
Also,
good rule of thumb.
On this topic of Say Anything, their last album they did, All Were Appropriate, ends with the spoken word outro.
Yeah, so like you've got their big like like they're not their debut, but their album most people were familiar with. Begins with a spoken word introduction, and the sequel to this album, which is their last album, Oliver Appropriate, ends with the spoken word introduction, as Erin just said.
Outro.
Yeah, outro, which just like beautiful symmetry.
What a bookend!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's so like I realized that after like my second listen to the album, and I was like, oh, that is genius.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think we just got a handful in there.
Yeah, I think it's 50-50 at this point.
How do you want to do this? Well,
you know what?
I just read, so it's...
Oh, yeah, you picked.
I picked.
Erin just picked, so...
And then it'll be me, and then it'll be Richie to pick. So,
yep.
Let's see. We've got... I feel bad for mentioning this earlier, because now it kind of gives some of this away. We've got... let's see if we can guess who this one will be, especially us here and the viewers at home, because I might have done something stupid earlier. We've got Kid A by Radiohead. Who could this be?
You played yourself.
Yeah. Well,
best part is you can't even try and misdirect it. You're the one with the hat. Mm-hmm. You know, Erin, we should collaborate on this. This is tough. Let me go out on a limb. Do you think it's Daulton? She's doing the visual gag again for the audio.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I did it too. We're even. God is my witness, I will get us a webcam. Okay. Anyway.
I have a camcorder in the bag.
Yeah, sure. We can do separate feeds. But
God is my witness, I will figure out how a camcorder works.
Well, what are your guesses there, fellas?
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, person on my latte Daulton.
Okay.
Time's out, train will stop. Hi, Daulton.
Okay. Countdown time?
I just counted down.
Oh, yeah. No.
We were talking during the countdown.
Oh, whoops.
Nope.
Okay.
Well, you already did the countdown.
Fine, I'll do it again.
No, you already did it. Okay.
Stop being cute.
Stop forward, mystery person. Who could this be? Whose favorite album this is?
Cough, cough, it's me.
Wow, it's Erin.
Wait,
who
what?
Guessed? Yeah.
Yeah, Kid A by Radiohead is my favorite Radiohead album. It's one of my favorite albums. I love how it was such a big departure from the previous sound that they had with OK Computer and the Bends, and especially Pablo Honey.
I missed it. You just said that too.
Yeah.
And I defaulted back to the conversation we had.
Oh my god, you too.
Welcome,
Richie.
Welcome to Prime Richie, everyone.
How did you... Okay, Richie. Okay. Let's talk about this record. It is a good one. It is a good one.
So, for some background with Kid A by Radiohead. So, as we mentioned, it's a big departure from the previous sound. Kid A is is almost exclusively electronic album. It's completely different from what they did before. For good reason, because they were looking to do a different sound, and especially the band was very burnt out, especially after touring for what was like over a year year and a half for
Yeah.
touring for OK Computer, because that was the album that changed everything.
Yeah, it changed the face of music at the time. You know, it showed critics that Radiohead was not like
The
a
trend
one-trick
chaser.
pony. They're not.
Yeah.
They weren't a one-trick pony.
They weren't trapped in the 90s.
Yeah, they weren't just that band that had that one song that everyone knows. You know.
Yeah, and also at the time, people were criticizing Radiohead as being trend chasers because they like the Pablo Honey. They're like, oh, this is very Nirvana light. That's
Yeah.
actually what NME called Radiohead when Creep came out. It was like, this is Nirvana light.
Fair.
Then with Then with the Bends, they said a lot of music critics were saying, well, this is just the music of the time. This is just 90s guitar rock. They're just chasing trends. And then OK Computer came out, and that changed everything.
Yeah.
They showed, it was like, hey, we can make our own music. We can create our own sound. That's completely different. It's going to throw everyone off.
Go off the cuff.
They embraced creativity with not just the music, but like music videos. Like the music videos off of OK Computer are very creative.
Aaron, I'm so sorry.
Paranoid Android.
Paranoid Android. You know, you've got No Surprises, which is a great like one-shot music video that's really creative.
Also, there were several points where Tom York almost drowned.
Yeah.
Because with the music video, he's in a helmet and it's
filling with water,
slowly
yeah.
filling with water. And there were times where they were filming and he had to like mouth the lyrics of the entire song
while underwater. Yeah.
While underwater.
Yeah.
And they gave him like basically this thing to pull that would drain the water out. But after like an hour of doing that, and actually it was probably longer than an hour, after maybe a few hours of doing that, he was getting so angry.
Oh, it's understandable.
Because they had been doing the same thing over and over again, and he had to keep like almost swallowing water.
And the way the music video is set up, it has to be done in one shot.
Yeah.
So.
For a song that's like, what, 3.5, 4 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Man, even as a voice actor, I don't have that lung capacity.
Yeah.
Also, Aaron, I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell. I think I was just defaulting back to that one conversation we had. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
alright.
You've got Karma Police, which was it's just a cool music video too.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh yeah, where they're like basically chasing down someone in a car.
Yeah.
And then everything catches fire.
Yeah. That's
Tom York in the backseat.
I love Optimistic too because.
Anyway, back to Kid A. We're talking about
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, Optimistic's a track on that.
Yeah, Optimistic is on Kid A.
Love the guitar work in that, and it's probably another testament to how good the higher register is for Tom York.
Another thing is the song How to Disappear Completely, which is a fantastic song off the album. The way that song was written is because Tom York is good friends with Michael Stipe from R.E.M.
That
Not a lot of people know that.
Tracks,
but,
though.
Yeah. And when
seems
they were
like a friendly guy. It seems like Michael Stipe is friends with a lot of musicians.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think. It's funny. He always came off as something of. Well, you think from his style he'd be one of the snobbier people, but he seems pretty chill.
Yeah. No, he was close friends with Kurt Cobain before he died too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, Aaron.
Anyway, and when they were touring, and when Radiohead was touring for OK Computer, and Tom York and the entire band was getting really burnt out from touring for so long, doing all the promotions and everything for the album, it's exhausting. And I can't remember what the exact advice he was, but it was just like, hey, you need to take a break and do something different. That's what Michael Stipe told Tom York. And he wrote the song How to Disappear Completely. I think it was actually towards the end of the tour for OK Computer, because Tom York himself was getting like really overwhelmed, and as I mentioned, burnt out by everything. And he wrote the lyrics, "I'm not here, this isn't happening."
Jeez.
Yeah. And as for the other songs in the album, the opening track, Everything in Its Right Place, is so chef's kiss.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I can't remember. Someone did like an orchestral version of Everything in Its Right Place, and that's really good too, from what I remember. But anyway, some of the songs in the album, like Idiotech, I love the drum work on Idiotech is so technical. It's very technical, but it's done incredibly well.
Tight too.
It's really tight too, yeah. And also how they did the multiple synth tracks on Idiotech.
I like how you could totally dance to it, and yet it's so moody. Like,
Yeah, because the
I
song
feel like
itself
this-
is like the end of the world.
I feel like this whole thing is like something someone with anxiety could dance to.
Yeah.
And I say that as someone... I say that from personal experience.
Same. But yeah, my favorite track on the album is actually their instrumental track, Tree Fingers. A lot of people kind of like glaze over that track, but it's very mellow music. It's very good music to vibe to. But also, there's if you listen to it, this also seems like there's also almost like an underlying darkness to the track, which I do really like. Cause if you listen to it, pay attention to it, there's something that seems like a little, because it's something you can, as I said, like mellow out to, but also something that seems a tiny bit unsettling to it.
Yeah, like a faint atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I have always thought that Everything in Its Right Place is like a perfect tone setter.
Yeah, and a lot of people criticize the song Kid A off the album because they're like, oh, the music box is weird or whatever. But I actually really liked that song because it sets the tone for the second half of the album.
I mean, it's kind of basic, but I think that like Everything in Its Right Place is probably my favorite track off the album. It's just like it's such a beautiful track.
Yeah.
Like perfect tone setter, a perfect album intro, and like just like the vocal performance from Tom York on that is so like sublime, and like I love how weird the instrumentation in that track is.
And there's also Morning Bell, which there's actually two versions of Morning Bell. There's the Amnesiac version and the Kid A version. I prefer the Kid A version. A lot of people prefer the Kid A version over Amnesiac. The interesting thing with it is I'm pretty sure Morning Bell is written in 7/4.
Yeah. You know, it's either that for me or National Anthem. That's a great track too.
National Anthem's great too.
So good.
I love the distorted guitar work on that track. All right, I think we should just dispense with the ceremony at this point because literally there's only one
There's
person
one
that can do.
Grand finale.
I'll just grab it. We're talking me this time. My final pick, you guys, is this.
Unknown Pleasures by Joy Division.
Nice.
Yep, a lot of moody stuff in mine, but I like a lot of moody music. Trust me, there were some. But before we get into it, I felt it might be fun for us to mention some like cuts that we are ashamed we couldn't put in or didn't fit in. I guess since I'm the final, I'll start us off. I was really sad that I could not. That like, this, a lot of this was spur of the moment. Part of me beats myself for not having some rap stuff. I would have probably put in because the internet.
Yeah, I thought I'd put that one in too.
You know, Tupac stuff I've considered. You know, Chromatics I love, and Night Drive is a fantastic record. I consider putting that, and it hurt me not to put any David Bowie in here.
You too, huh?
Yeah, like I heavily considered Heroes.
I would have considered Heroes
that
too.
heavily was a consideration for me, and I guess the other one that like was so close, just so close, because it was my big intro to like, just like more robust scene and getting more into like more poppy stuff. Was This Modern Glitch, the Wombats album, because that's like a perfect album too, in my opinion, despite its shortness.
Hell yeah.
So, what about you guys? What are some hard cuts that you had to make?
For me, it would have been, well, one of the songs that I cut, which ended up being on this anyway, was Purple Rain. But we already discussed that. Another one was going to be Oliver Appropriate, because that album is the sequel to
Is a Real Boy. Yep.
And it's my favorite Say Anything album. And also is one of those an album that about a man struggling with his sexuality.
Yeah.
Which is one of those things that is like, oh, this is something you don't hear about a lot, especially from a male perspective.
Male musicians, you don't hear that a lot from male musicians. Like, the only other thing I can think of contemporarily that is similar would be like Flower Boy, you know, the Tyler the Creator album. Like, that's a heavy theme for Tyler's later stuff now, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Rich?
Well, I had mentioned it before, but Demon Days by Gorillaz
Yeah.
was a painful cut.
Gorillaz, painful cut for me too. Plastic Beach is a favorite of mine too.
I've got a... Yeah, Demon Days is like a personally important one for me.
Of course, yeah.
Once again, Dad. He had the demo of that he got from a friend.
Oh, wow.
Who had some connections, I guess.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I don't know the exact details, but I got to hear it super early, and it basically became a regular thing for us to play in the car when I was little. Rio by Duran Duran. This one was This one was a mom contribution. Once again, carpool karaoke cheesiness. Great new wave record.
Yeah.
The title track has that glittering synth.
Mm-hmm.
Hungry Like the Wolf is something I dare anyone not to sing along with once it's on.
One of the best songs about oral sex you'll ever hear.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta love the innocent. It's fading away.
Yeah.
And speaking of Bowie, my cut from that was Station to Station.
Ooh, so many great tracks. One of my favorite underrated Bowie cuts is on there. I love TVC 1.5.
Oh, yes.
It's such a jam. You can't help but not groove to that song.
I can rock out to Golden Years on karaoke.
Oh, that's a great track too.
Yeah, and there was one more that I didn't mention. That's Disintegration by The Cure.
Oh, yeah. Cure is a deep... I love The Cure. One of my personal favorites from them.
It's my favorite Cure album. It's my Rainy Day album.
Yeah, they've got a lot of great records, and it's actually, you gave me the perfect transition. I love the rain. I love darkness. I love fog. I like dreary weather. I find comfort and pleasure in it. Very appropriate. Unknown Pleasures. I got into this band from, hearing Love Will Tear Us Apart and a few things and like being like, oh, who's that? And then I picked up a copy of Unknown Pleasures when I was in high school and like, it just clicked immediately for me. Like the second, it opens up, you've got Disorder with the opening track.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that is the opening track, right?
I'm pretty sure it's Disorder, yeah.
Yeah, because I can't believe I forgot this, but there's a lot of great tracks on that album. That's part of the reason why.
Don't worry, we're
Disorder.
all friends here.
Yep, Disorder. Yep.
We're good.
Disorder is one of the best album openers ever. Immediately sets the tone for a band perfectly. You've got those like muted, like but really like vibrating guitar work, which I've always appreciated for this album. Is like the guitar work on this album is so. It's muted, but at the same time, it's got like this vibrato to it, this vibrational like tone that like hits you. You like thrums inside you. Ian Curtis,
What a voice.
goddamn, like one of those singers like that has such a deep voice and like captivating. Like the second he starts,
Hypnotic.
the second you hear "I've been waiting for a guy to come and take me by the hand," you're just drawn in. It's like he's taking you by the hand almost, like with how like hypnotic his
It's
voice
almost
is.
Bowie-esque when he leans into the baritone parts of it, the bassier parts.
Yeah, you can hear his sorrow throughout this record so heavy. It makes like the tragedy of Ian Curtis even stronger. But it led to greater things. It led to New Order, which is one of the greatest bands to ever exist, in my opinion.
Amen.
That was a hard cut for me too. I think Substance, which is a bunch of their singles, is like one of the best compilation albums ever.
Period.
Yeah, like you've got Blue Monday, Bizarre Love Triangle, Ceremony, just like so much great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Joy Division's such a significant band too, because like they really made gothic music and like darker music a lot more palpable and successful. It influenced so many groups. Ian Curtis had like this beautifully poetic way of writing. Their stuff feels so raw and visceral.
Probably-
and I love it.
Probably one of the most influential acts of the post-punk scene.
Mm-hmm.
Of the like late 70s, early 80s post-punk scene.
And they really expanded the music scene in the UK because like nobody paid attention to Manchester before this. Like all the big groups came from like Liverpool or London, basically.
Yeah.
And nobody paid attention to Manchester because they're like, oh, it's Manchester. It's just that working class city that nobody gives a shit about.
Oh, yeah. Then it became like a veritable hotspot for talent.
Yeah, like you've got like everyone that came out of Factory off of that. You've got like Happy Mondays, tying back into something Richie mentioned earlier, because Shawn Ryder from the Happy Mondays was on Demon Days with Dare, one of their most famous tracks, like the Gorillaz' most famous tracks.
It's coming up.
Yeah,
It's there.
great vocalists right there too. This album's so raw. There's so many great tracks. The guitar, this is an album that was made in production. Like, the band is so important, but like I cannot overstate how important the production work is on this album.
Yeah.
Like, it gave it its sound, because if you listen to Joy Division live, it sounds completely different from this actual album. You can listen to tracks off of this record, they sound completely different live.
Case in point, Transition.
I
prefer the live version of that, honestly.
Yeah, Transmission's a great track. She's Lost Control is another great one.
Oh, yes. No Love Lost?
Yeah, Day of the Lords. There's so many great cuts on this album. It's influential. You've seen it on a billion t-shirts and parodies and stuff.
Yeah.
That album cover is iconic. And, Ian Curtis, one of the greatest songwriters and singers of all time. He was lost to us too soon.
He was only 23.
Yeah, and Peter Hook, my God, one of the greatest bassists who's ever lived, in my opinion. To this day, he does amazing bass work, and like, I love the bass guitar. He's easily one of my favorite bass guitarists.
He's part of the reason why I picked up the bass as my instrument.
Yeah.
I mostly play by ear and by noodling around, but if there was anyone that made me want to stick to it, it was him. Very few bands recognize the significance of bass, and Ian Curtis did. Like, the album opens with bass. Like, it leads in with Peter Hook's bass work on Disorder, which is an amazing bass riff. That bass, like, a lot, and that's like what I think makes them iconic too, is like, so many Joy Division songs are led by the bass. Oh yeah. Transmission.
Yeah. Disorder.
Disorder.
Yeah.
Once again, No Love Lost, which is probably my personal favorite.
That's a great pick. And, like, they had range too. Like, you might not hear it as much just listening to their studio stuff, but if you listen to, like, their Substance, which was also their cuts of, like, singles and stuff, you've got stuff like Love Will Tear Us Apart Again, which is one of the most beautiful songs, like, ever written, most tragically beautiful songs ever. Warsaw, which is like much more raw punk edge, that like you can tell that they were influenced by Sex Pistols with that.
Oh yeah.
Just a perfect gothic rainy album, and just one of the best debuts ever, and one of the most significant albums of all time, in my opinion.
Oh, judging by the lengths of this one, it may very well end up being a two-parter, but don't you worry, all of our loyal, I hope, listeners.
Yeah.
My schedule is actually a lot more accommodating, and no guarantees, but I do think next weekend could see to another potential episode.
Yeah,
Potentially.
Because I shall be within the studio environment range next weekend.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's a lot of stuff we could do, we might get back with just doing our usual. We'll probably do that for the next part. We'll just have to really think about what movie we're going to do.
Tune in next week for a surprise, because I think there are numerous...
We have several options.
Many options. So, it was great talking in this setting again. Great talking about music. I love to talk about it. Anyway, this has been the Killer Score podcast. We're all signing off. I'm, of course, Daulton Morrison, lead host, composer. I told you where you can find me, but just to remind you, I've got a YouTube, I've got a Twitter under the name of Sick Jacket Man. You can find me on there. I do voice acting stuff. I have plans to like make recorded video reviews of all sorts of kinds of content, and I'm working on a project with Erin here that we've had in the works for a while that is very different, very experimental, but I hope you'll like it. We'll let you know when that's closer to being started.
Mm-hmm.
Rest assured, work may have stifled me a bit, my day job, but I will return. And when I do... God damn it. When I do, I shall be back with voice acting videos, some film analysis things. I am gonna be back with a vengeance, as my co-host eloquently put it. You can check out my solo little clippy demos on my YouTube channel just under Richard Eckert, that's Eckert. You could also check out some of my work with Royal Flush Productions and Mr. Everwest on EHD, where I also do some editing. And for those interested in my old archived reviews of movies and other things, go to richreviews.website. It's under a WordPress format, and I may return to that should I ever find the time or motivation to get back to written content.
And this is Erin Murray signing off. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at nair.murray. That's N-I-R-E. There's 2 different spellings of my last name on there, so I'll just put links in the description. And you can also find my work over at witchandcrafts.com. Once again, link in the description. That's WITCHEN crafts.com. We will have some new items coming out soon. And you can come and take a look and maybe do some shopping.
All right. Peace, guys.